Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin. If you're new here, if you're not, thank you so much for stopping back by. Your support is just out of this world, you guys. I really appreciate it. And today I am going to get into my March budget closeout. We're going to dive into how well I stayed on track, what happened with all the monies last month. So let's just do that. First things first, we have my housing and utilities section. So I budget for $44.95 for my mortgage, and shocker, I paid for $44.95. With electricity, it actually was quite a bit more than I thought it was going to be. My half of the electric bill, was actually $96.50 when I had budgeted $85. So bummer, but it's okay. It's only $11. Next up, I budgeted $10.50. It's $10.18 for water, so just a few cents under. And then for internet, it was what I thought it would be at $22.50, and trash was $14. So no price increases on those three things. And then the last one is a bill that I do not split with my partner, and that's my phone bill. It is actually a limited data plan through Straight Talk. So if you're wondering why it's so cheap, that's why. I only get 5 gigs of data, but I don't go anywhere, so I use Wi-Fi most of the time. With that, I will get into the auto section. So in March, I wasn't 100% sure what my auto insurance was going to look like. So it turns out it was just under $150 at $146.04. That is now including a car and a Jeep, and both on full coverage with extra liability because I don't like taking any chances. So keep that in mind. With the fuel cost, I budgeted $75 and I only spent $18 last month. Can you believe it? So for anyone who was wondering or waiting to see if I would actually save money on gas with this car, you betcha I did. Part of that is that the gas tank was nearly full when I bought the car. So I didn't have to get gas for quite some time in March. I only had to get it once. So that is that. Next up, we have my debt payments. And so, go forward. Back. Okay, debt payments. I had an auto loan payment of $290. That's my minimum payment. And it's not actually an even number if you're wondering. I just put an even number on the loan instead of paying the like $288 whatever, because even numbers are friendly. So the next thing is I thought I was going to be able to do extra debt payments of $925. And I was able to put $1,075 extra, which felt great because I got a bigger bonus at work than I expected. So I'm so happy with that. And I did put that towards it. So I thought I was going to put $500 from that bonus, and I was able to put $650. Chef's kiss on that. Made me happy. With my food budget, oh my God, you guys. I went over by $95, which in the grand scheme is not that big of a deal, but it did feel kind of bad because I try really hard to stick to my budget. But a couple different things happened. If you saw my April budget, I kind of covered it. I went to Dollar General for food too much, and it didn't treat my wallet very well. I just hate grocery shopping, so I just did it where it was easy. We don't live that close to a big store, so anyway, that's kind of why that happened. And then I spent $45.82, and we went to a casino, and those were the drinks that I bought at the casino. And then also, I think there was a McDonald's trip in there as well. So got my money's worth out of my restaurant budget at least. Next up, we have entertainment, and I'm not going to spend too much time, but all of those came out as expected for all of my subscription services. And I consume media, like all the time. I'm consuming media. When I'm working, I have it on as white noise. When I'm on my treadmill, I'm consuming media. So if you think that I have too many subscriptions, trust me, I don't. I run out of stuff to watch all the time because I'm constantly watching something. But yeah, so judge me if you need to, but that's what I do, especially this winter. Well, now that we're outside, I've been gardening more and stuff, but yeah, the winter time, I consume media like it's going out of style. Next up, I have my miscellaneous section, and the first thing there is that I have decided this year to make it part of my budget to donate, not just on a whim, but to make myself donate more often. Only $25 because I'm still in debt, but I think that that's something. So last month I decided to put that money towards 3 different causes. One was towards the efforts in Ukraine, and that was through the World Central Kitchen, where they provide food in the Ukraine. They had already provided 1 million meals by the time I donated, and I put 25 towards that. And then I was actually in a sorority in college, Gamma Phi Beta. I loved my experience with G Phi, and They did like an annual day of giving to the sorority to help with like scholarships for sisters. And I actually decided to put mine toward their diversity and inclusion fund because I think that's really valuable in Greek life. So I put 25 towards GFI. And then the last thing that I donated to was the Amazon Labor Union. If you haven't heard, they won their first election in Staten Island and have the right now to negotiate a contract on behalf of 8,000 workers in that warehouse. So I am ecstatic to see the Amazon Labor Union win that fight. They have a fight ahead of them for sure with the negotiations, but I am a union supporter, and it's exciting to see that that union took on one of the biggest companies maybe ever, and they won that vote. So they have continued efforts. They have another vote coming up. Maybe by the time this posts, it's already happened. I'm not sure. And then there are other Amazons trying to unionize as well. There's union efforts all over the country right now. It's wild. I'll link a channel below that keeps up with all of it. It's called More Perfect Union. If you're someone who's interested in keeping up with all these union fights and the labor movement in general, that channel is invaluable. So I'll link it below if you're interested. But yeah, I just donated $10 what I could because I already went over my donation budget, but I really felt pulled to donate to that cause. And so yeah, ended up 35 over my budget, spending 60, and I regret nothing. It cut into the extra bonus amount that I had, so it felt good. Next up, we have my household toiletries budget. I budgeted 75 and I ended up spending 79. And the reason is I actually had this under budget like all the way up until like the last day of March, and I just really needed my face lotion and I could not wait any longer. So I went ahead and bought it, and it's like $15, but it lasts like a year. Like it's such a, like you only need a teeny tiny amount and it's a big container. And Trav actually likes it now too. So I really needed to get it so we could both still use it. So anyway, that's why that went over, no biggie. Personal spending, I budgeted 75 and I spent 133. And to be honest, it was like a ton of smaller purchases. I know I bought a puzzle. What was the 65? There's something I spent $65 on. I can't remember. Usually, there's comments. I bought some clothes. Yeah, that's why that went over. I bought some leggings and stuff because I'm just not as small as I used to be, and I'm wearing out the leggings that do fit because they only barely fit. So I bought a couple pairs of leggings and a couple shirts, and that's that. Next up was my miscellaneous fund, and I did go over on that one too by quite a lot. I budgeted 50 and went 134. I had to buy a bachelorette trip t-shirt, and there was something else I bought for that, and some other things, and I could have taken that out of my vacation fund because I am budgeting in the vacation fund for the New Orleans trip, but I just decided that if I could make it work in my budget, I would just leave it in the budget so that I could keep my vacation fund for the actual trip. So that's where we stood with my typical budgeting on that side. So then we can move over to the savings and sinking funds here and look at those. So first things first, I have a Roth IRA and I put $250 in there. I put 25 into my brokerage, and that's exactly what I planned to do. So pat on the back there. You can also see that I do have a beginning ending balance and a difference. So that those two accounts, they increased by more than what I put in because they are invested accounts. But they did well. And then next up, I have a propane sinking fund, and that is just a savings account. So it went from $415 to $490, up by $75 as planned. My home fund also went up by $200 as planned. I didn't spend anything out of it. I did buy, or maybe that was in February. I don't know. I recently bought some stuff for gardening, but I think that was in February. Okay. Anyway, next up, vehicle fund. So it shows that I wanted to put in $250 for my vehicle registration. Well, my registration ended up being $178.85. And then I actually did pull out $800 from my sinking fund to pay for a trailer to use with my Jeep. I'd like to start buying and maybe selling pallets or being able to carry our kayaks or whatever. So I did go ahead and get a trailer. It was a good deal. And so I spent that much, and you'll see in the bottom here, I did pull money out that way. So anyway, my auto fund is now at $750 left over after that. And then I budgeted $250 and only spent $178 of the actual budget. So the rest of that was like buffer for all the overspending elsewhere, I guess. Next up is vacations. I did put the $275 into my vacation fund, And for gifts, I did not actually put the difference into the sinking fund. So I spent $6.50 on a gift for my mama. I think I bought her some sort of shirt or jacket or something. I don't remember. Oh, I got her a fuzzy vest. Next up was family spending, and I put that into the sinking fund. So my sinking fund went from 75 to 150 for family purchases. That's just for my mom's family, because my family is just me and Travis. So I save money to help out my mom and little sister and stuff. Next up is my emergency fund. I did put the 100 that I planned to put in there, and so that brought it up to 2,400. I'm getting close to a 2-month emergency fund, so we're getting there. And then student loans, I didn't save anything for that, and you will no longer see this sinking fund moving forward because I decided to withdraw that money for my April budget, and I won't be saving any more in that account for a long time. So I've closed that sinking fund. Next up, we will get into my income section. Okay, so my camera just died and I'm not sure where I ended, so I'm gonna restart the income section here and see what happens. So with my income section, like I said, I have $1,594 for both paychecks, and then for my annual bonus, I expected to get $500, and I actually ended up taking home $755.88, which feels great. So I ended up putting a good chunk of that towards the auto loan. So I did put $650 towards auto instead of just $500, and the rest of it I used as a buffer for overspending. Next up, I had $160 rollover from February, and that was supposed to go towards vehicles, but again, I did some overspending, so that's what happened there. Next up, I took $800 out of my auto fund to buy that trailer, so I put that in the income so it balances out where you can see the spending above. And lastly, I made $2 from Google Opinion Rewards. So with that, I brought home $4,907, and I spent $4,918, which left -10. This is the first time in a long time I have spent more than I brought in, but I did some checking at the end of March, and it turns out my checking account has a pretty solid buffer in it, over $300, I think. And so I don't know if I'm gonna roll that over or not. I might just leave it because I don't really have to roll it into April. I don't think I did actually. Yeah, I don't think I rolled it into April. I'm filming this like days after I did my April budget or whatever. So I'm probably just going to leave that. The buffer will take care of it. It's not a big deal. And that's just one of the benefits of having a budget that you stick to. Whenever you go under for several months in a row, then you've got a little bit of a buffer for if you do go over a little bit. So that is what happened with my budget in the month of March. So we'll look at my little budget breakdown donuts here. So I had anticipated the green or bluish teal donut here being the one that I would stick to, and it just didn't go quite like that because I did get a little bit more income than I expected, as you could see. And these breakdowns, they can be a little misleading because I do like to put when I take money out of a sinking fund, I like to put it in my income now so that I can actually put in my budget that I spent that money on a certain thing and track it better, because I don't have a separate sheet that tracks individual expenses. I do everything inside this budget sheet. So with that, sometimes these aren't going to look the same. So the real value is just seeing that, like, in the actual breakdown, I did do 40% towards savings, 27% towards debt, which are both really great numbers. The only caveat is that savings, since it's based on the savings and sinking fund section. So I spent, $800, and I didn't really put that into savings. I took it out. So it kind of skews these donuts. So let me know in the comments, do you even find value in these donuts being there? Because I really like looking at them, but I don't have to share them. I really never have anything to say about them. So if you don't think they're worthwhile sharing, I'll just stop going over them. So let me know what you think. And again, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I appreciate it. Your encouragement is endlessly helpful in this journey to pay down debt, to stay on track with investing and saving money. And it's hard sometimes to continue to sacrifice. I mean, you guys see, I do have a personal spending budget, obviously, but my partner is a much bigger spender than me. And so sometimes it's really hard for me to not get to do a lot of spending where I would really like to. I want to be a material girl, guys, but I can't. So yeah, all the encouragement I get on this channel is just endlessly helpful to stay on track and keep top of mind that I want to retire when I'm 40. So if I want to do that, I can't always get the pants that I want all the time. Because if I could buy leggings nonstop, I would. But anyway, again, thank you guys so much. You're the best. And I will catch you in the next video. Have a great morning, noon, or night, whatever it is for you, no matter where you are.